"Who was that guy?" one of the twins said as he accepted Andre's hand to stand up from the ground. "I'm not sure. I haven't seen that ability before either," Andre replied. "Most likely an original that's on this planet or an independent traveler." "Hey, I think you better come and take a look at this," Andy shouted to the others. The three of them prodded along, and when their eyes made contact with what Andy was looking at, the two twins nearly keeled over from the shock. That's the king-tiered beast we fought against before," the twins shouted. They had fought several times against the king beast as a team without Andre, so they knew the strength of the beast. "What do you think happened?" Andy asked. Andre then knelt beside the beast and started fleshing out certain parts of the beast's cadaver. They knew what he was doing. He was looking for the beast's crystal. It was located where the human heart would be, slightly to the left of the middle of the chest. The extracted crystal didn't look common at all. It was clearer and wasn't as murky and didn't radiate any light at all. "I'm surprised. There's still a crystal inside? How come it wasn't extracted?" one of the twins said. "Perhaps it was killed recently," Andy replied. "Perhaps the creature and the strange man from before were the ones that killed it?" Andy said. "They were the only ones here at the time." "No," Andre replied. "There were others here as well." While saying this, Andre looked in the direction of Vorden and the others. On the cold floor of an abandoned building, Fex could be seen lying on the floor. Quinn didn't want to wake him up. He had gone far and beyond for the safety of others. "Maybe vampires aren't as bad as you say," Quinn said to the system. Thankfully, Quinn was able to hide his identity using the costume and mask Logan had created for him. Also, Fex was unrecognizable as the bloodsucker. He had his uniform on, but in the fight with the king-tiered beast, it was badly damaged and had been rendered unrecognizable. The travelers looked like they were trying to help Vorden and Peter. Once Fex woke up, Quinn would go and meet up with them before they left the cave. But before all of that, there was still one thing he wanted to check out before leaving: the tower. Finally, with Fex sleeping away, Quinn had a chance to look at all the rewards, other than the EXP and the blood ability increase he had received. With the increase in blood skills, all his attacks related to blood skills had gotten stronger, but the most impressive of them all was the blood bank. It was now able to store double the amount of blood at 200 milliliters. Quest reward, unlock one ability skill. It seemed to be related to the shadow skill. New skill, Shadow Eater unlocked. He would look at the details of the skill later. He was a bit upset when he found out that he wasn't able to grab the king-tiered beast crystal, but in return, it seemed like the system had given him something else. Small blood crystal 1 obtained. That is a very rare item. Although you have no use for it now, I suggest you store it in your system for safekeeping, the system stated, refusing to elaborate. But hearing the system say such a thing was precious, it still placed a smile on Quinn's face. The last two notifications were the strangest. Quest, reach level 20 for next evolution. Reward, next evolution Vampire Noble. Additional rewards will be revealed once rank has been reached. Quest, part 1 of 2. The king has been defeated, and now the tower is left unprotected. Search the tower and discover what treasure it was trying to protect. Suddenly, he heard someone groaning behind him. It looked like Fex was waking up. "What the hell happened?" Fex said, looking around at where he was. He then looked down and noticed the flask on the floor. Images of his transformation into Bloodsucker appeared in his head, and he remembered everything that happened. "You saved me?" Fex said. "Come on, I can explain while we're making our way over," Quinn replied. "Over where?" "To the tower." The group of travelers had regrouped and were heading toward the students. Lily had been watching the fight carefully and wanted to join in, but she knew her duty was to stay by the students' side in case anything happened. As she saw the two twins walking over groggily, she rushed over to their side. "Are you both all right? I saw what happened. Who was that guy?" she asked as she gave her shoulder to one of the bald twins. "That's what we want to know as well," Andre replied. "You students, your uniform, I assume you are from one of the military bases out on an outing. Second year, right?" "We're first years. What is the military thinking sending in first years? Have the times gotten that desperate?" "Well, if you look at the structures around us, perhaps," Andre said. "I wanted to ask you guys, what happened? The king-tier beast on the ground. Did you see what happened to it? And do you know what that other creature was? And last of all, what about the strange demon-masked man?" Peter, Vorden, and Layla wanted to keep their mouths shut. "That king-tier beast, it was killed by me." Another voice interrupted before Sia was able to finish her sentence. "Logan, are you okay?" Layla asked. "I'll live," Logan replied. It took everything I had with the help of my friends here, but we were finally able to kill the king tier beast. As for the strange person who appeared at the end, your guess is as good as ours. He only appeared when you guys saw him as well." Andre started to think about Logan's words. They were convincing. Also, it was hard to imagine why the students would even lie in this type of situation when they had seen firsthand that the creature was trying to kill them. On the other hand, there was also Sia. She didn't know who the masked man was while the others did, but what she did know was that Fex was the one who had turned into a monster, and Quinn was nowhere to be seen after killing the king tier. She wasn't completely stupid. Quinn had been using the red aura attacks, and the masked man had done the same. Most likely Quinn was trying to protect Fex. "Okay, I've decided then," Andre said. "Let's take them back to the shelter." The students and the group of travelers started to head out of the small town. While doing so, Vorden and Layla would constantly look around, hoping to find Quinn and Fex. "I hope you bring me a nice souvenir to work on from that tower, Quinn," Logan thought. "Logan, I don't think I can hold it in for much longer." "What? If you want to go to the toilet, just go. It's too dark here anyway. Nobody will see anything." "No, it's not that." Hearing those words, Logan knew straight away what Peter meant. He was hungry. Before heading off to the tower, Quinn made sure of two things. The first thing was that his MC points were fully restored. The second thing was that he was fully equipped with all his equipment. Of course, that included his suit, which was made by Logan. There was no more blood in the flask. Fex had consumed all of it, and in doing so, it looked like his wounds were healing too. The armor that Logan created gave him some additional defense. Although it wasn't much, every little increment would help, and this was his reason for putting it on. "Are you all ready then?" Quinn asked Fex. "Quinn, wait!" Fex said as he rushed over and bowed down on one knee with his fist on the floor. "Whoa, what's this all about?" "I have to do this, please. Quinn, you saved my life. I remember everything that happened while I was the bloodsucker. You fought against those travelers and risked me chasing after you. Finally, you used the flask that I had given you to save me." This whole time, he had been getting closer to Quinn for one reason, to save his own back. If he was ever to be found out by his clan, then Fex's idea was to turn Quinn in as one of the shadow users. While Quinn had never thought about abandoning him, Fex no longer cared about how he was able to do it or why he seemed to keep growing stronger. He had just had this feeling of guilt over his heart that he wanted to get rid of. "I'm on your side, Quinn." Quinn didn't know what to say. At the time, Quinn had only done what he felt was right. Fex had risked his life to save the whole group. What right did he have to die by the hand of strangers? Quinn didn't know why, but he naturally walked over to Fex and extended his hand. Fex, in return, naturally took it and lifted himself. "We're blood brothers from now on," Fex said with a smile. "We may not be related by blood, but I will treat you as a part of my family. And I will do the same." After slowly creeping their way towards the tower by going through buildings rather than going down the open street towards the tower, it seemed like they hadn't seen a single beast on their way there. Is it the strange crystals from the top of the tower, or did the other beasts stay away from this place because of the king tier beast? Quinn thought. The crystals shone brightly at the top and gave off a slightly blue hue to the area below it. "We can take some time to explore if you're worried." "What do you mean?" "The others would leave with those travelers. More than likely, they already know of an exit. I asked my little Ham to follow them from above. Once he knows where the exit is, he'll come and find me." "Ham, is that the little flying bull from earlier?" "Yeah, good name, right?" Ignoring Fex's last words, Quinn continued to walk up to the tower. In the middle of the door, there was a circular hole that seemed to go a few inches deep. "It's a lock," Fex said. "These doors, I've seen them in my castle before. They're impossible to open without some type of key or mechanism. They're meant to even withstand attacks from the vampire leaders." "Doesn't that mean there's something important here?" "Yeah, but I don't know what." Going up to the door, Quinn decided to try and give it a push using all his strength. He was half expecting it to do something, but as Fex had informed him, it didn't budge at all. "I told you it was pointless, man. Don't give up yet," the system said. "Do you remember that red blood crystal you received from defeating the king tier beast? Why don't you place that on the door and see what happens?" He took out the crystal from his inventory and placed it in the strange hole inside the door. The gears shifted and the door pulled inwards, opening a way up inside the tower. "Are you coming?" Ham was up in the air while looking down at the fairly large town. It was slowly following the group of students, along with the travelers, to see where they were heading. "I hope Master is all right," Ham said. "Peter, how long can you hold out? Until we get outside, I might be able to do something by then." Peter immediately looked up at Logan from his position. His eyes were starting to show a slight tint of red in them. "Okay, looks like you won't last that long." Finally, the group had reached one of the tunnels that led out of the city. While walking through the tunnels, Logan had come up with an idea. "So with all these tunnels, how do you guys know the way out? These tunnels are like a maze, and they either seem to loop with each other or all end up going back to the original town we just left from. In the end, we never found an exit, so we decided to create our own. In one of the tunnels, we marked ourselves." Logan had scanned the place before coming down, so he knew there was a space between the surface and the ground they were currently on, and was prepared for it. It was a sad thought, but some of the other students were consumed by the strange, plant-like beast. All Logan needed to do was to make them split up with the others and search through the tunnels for one of these dead students that Peter could feed on. Finally, the group exited the tunnel and entered another larger section with several more tunnels. The second they entered the room, though, Peter loudly screamed as if he was in pain. It seemed too sudden. By Logan's predictions, they should have had more time. Looking around the room, though, he soon spotted the cause. His theory was right. Some students had fallen to their deaths after being consumed by the plant because there were a couple of students in front of them. The smell and sight of the students had caused a reaction inside him. Not knowing what to do, Logan rushed towards Peter with his suit still on and picked him up from the ground. Peter remained motionless in the same position, not even moving his hands. He just kept groaning. Right now, he was using every bit of energy and was concentrating on not lashing out and going toward the students. But even more so, he didn't want to bite his friend Logan, who was carrying him right now. Logan kept running with Peter on his shoulder, picking a tunnel at random. "Wait, what are you doing?" Lily shouted. The others had already gone over to inspect the other students to see if they were still alive and if there was anything they could do. Unaware of the commotion going on behind them, they only realized something was happening when Lily shouted out to them. "Wait!" Lily shouted out again, genuinely concerned for the two, so she decided to chase after them. Suddenly, Logan's hand had transformed into one of his blasters. He aimed it at the ceiling and blasted it away, causing the tunnel to crumble down, blocking the path between them. "We should go after them," Lily suggested. "No," Andre replied. "Couldn't you see it? The other student caused the tunnel to collapse on purpose. For now, it's best if we leave that mystery unsolved and head back to the base." The group continued to walk through the tunnels while also instructing the students to look away from the dead bodies. "Why do you think they ran off?" Layla asked Vorden. "If I was to guess, it would have something to do with Peter again. Logan wouldn't put his neck out on the line like that for no reason." "Do you think Logan will be okay? What if Peter gets hungry again and tries to eat Logan?" "Impossible. Trust me, by now you should have been able to tell. Logan is not the one to worry about if the two of them get into a fight. It's Peter." Although that might have been the case before, Logan had used up several of his trump cards in the fight against the King-tier beast. He was also a bit injured from the battle, and lastly, Quinn had grown stronger from the fight. That meant Peter had to as well.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.